Well, it's true. There have been businessmen appointed to the Federal Reserve in the past. I wouldn't say that they're the most glorious appointments ever made, but, they, acquitted themselves adequately. But let's not kid ourselves. The fact that Herman Cain did at one point sit on the board of the Kansas City Fed, or that he was a successful businessman, is not why Trump plans to nominate him. Trump plans to nominate him because he sees Cain as a loyalist who will vote on monetary policy in a way that is supportive for Trump's agenda. And the same is true for Steve Moore. So I think let's not get sort of caught up in exactly whether these people are the most or least qualified people ever appointed. Let's actually look at the reasons why they're being nominated.
Greg, is what he's doing a more transparent version of what we've seen past presidents do, which is to nominate someone for ideological reasons because they want a certain outcome? Or is this actually a break from what we usually see?
It's definitely a break from the post-1992 convention. Under Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, they nominated Federal Reserve appointees who were, yes, usually from the same political party, but had very strong qualifications. They were not controversial. And if you look at the monetary policy those individuals then carried out, it's impossible to distinguish a partisan bias to it. In the Reagan era, it is true that there were governors who were appointed primarily to check Paul Volcker's hawkish tendencies. But let's remember, when it came time for Paul Volcker to retire, he was replaced by Alan Greenspan, who proceeded to run a very hawkish and independent monetary policy. I think the question today is whether Trump plans to break that mold and make sure that everybody forthwith who's appointed to the Federal Reserve be a party loyalist, and that we end up with a situation very similar to Supreme Court nominations.
So, Steve, with all of this swirling about, and Jim Uriel also alluded a little bit to this, which is that is the bond market worried that specific dovishness means down the road you start to get inflation picking up again, which, again, is kind of the quote-unquote solution that people have been looking for, ironically. But putting that aside, do market participants worry about this harming the Fed and its ability to do its job well?
Well, first of all, I agree with Jim. I heard what his comments were. I do think that we're starting to see inflation worries or expectations rising, because just look at the reaction that you see in gold. That would be the first. And I know that we haven't had years where gold should be the inflation canary in the coal mine, and it hasn't been. But I think the market is starting to pay attention to ultra doves on the Fed. Having said that,
go ahead.
I disagree with Greg in the notion that I do believe that every president, I think he said this, every president wants to get someone at least from their party or with the same party views, but you can't tell when they sort of enact whatever policies they would like to. You started off the segment saying we have one person who's an economist or economist viewpoint, and we have a markets-based person giving their analysis. Well, Chairman Powell is not an economist either. So I think this was something where President Trump was trying to shake up the Fed Reserve, trying to shake up, different parties and different regulations, I should say, and boards to be in his likeness. That's what we're seeing right now. I do believe that, people are questioning this because it's so ultra obvious when you look at it that he is trying to get someone who's partisan, someone who is in lockstep with him. But don't kid yourself. This happens all the time. It's not as obvious in the past as we've seen now. Yellen was a former Clinton, backer as well.